September Sunday here in Green Bay. Ian Eagle, Rich Gannon, the rest of our CBS crew. 70 degrees, we can confirm. No frozen tundra. We've been here for 3 days. It has been absolutely beautiful weather in the Midwest. Packers have won the toss. Bengals will kick off with Shane Graham. Will Blackman is the deep man. Bengals in Green Bay for the first time since 1995. We're underway. Blackman on the return. Up the middle, Blackman crossing the 25-yard line. Shy of the 30, Michael Johnson making the play on special teams. Donald Driver is the other receiver. Grant with Kuhn in front of him in the backfield. Fake the handoff. Little bootleg for Rodgers. Got some time and some room to throw. And the ball is dropped by Finley. Could have been a perfect way to start this day. 2nd and 10 for the Packers. Ryan Grant getting the carry, and Grant picks up 3 yards on 2nd down. Tank Johnson in on that stop along with Leon Hall. Nickel package here for Cincinnati. Deshaun Wynn in the backfield. Out of the shotgun, Rodgers for Green Bay. He's got protection, and the throw incomplete. Looking for Donald Driver, and a flag down on the play. Chris Crocker, a hard-hitting safety, physical defensive back in on that play for Cincinnati. Our referee today, Ed Hockley, and first penalty of the afternoon. That'll make sure he's got the numbers straight.
Pass interference, defense. The ball is placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
Well, 2 things right off the bat, Ian. I thought the pass protection was solid for Aaron Rodgers. The other thing is, look for these matchups. The wide receivers of the Packers against the secondary, the safeties in that secondary for Cincinnati. They want to go after Chris Crocker and Roy Williams.
It's an 11-yard penalty, and Green Bay has it at the 41-yard line. On the pitch, here's Grant looking for a hole, not much there. And thrown down. Keith Rivers had a broken jaw last year, played only 7 games. He's a big part of this Cincinnati defense, and Mike Zimmer, the coordinator. You're very high on what Zimmer has been able to do defensively with this Bengals squad.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's made an immediate impact. Now they're in year 2 in the system. I think they're much deeper and more talented at each level of this defense. Antoine Odom's healthy now. They get Mauluga, Rivers back. They add Roy Williams in the secondary. They are much deeper and more talented across the board.
And Rivers goes to the sideline on a 2nd and 9 now. Brandon Johnson has stepped in for the Cincinnati outside linebacking spot. Play fake. Rodgers slipped a bit, now airs it out, and too high. He was looking for Jermichael Finley, the 2nd-year tight end from Texas. We talked about Mauluga, USC product. Rivers out of USC as well. We'll see a young linebacker for Green Bay out of USC when their defense takes the field. 3rd and long now. In some trouble. Rodgers steps up. Rodgers looks for the open man and drop. Greg Jennings. Couple of drops for these Packers receivers on the opening drive, and Jennings told us these receivers are very hard on one another. If it hits your hands, you're expected to make the catch among these wide receivers.
And as we talked with Cincinnati last week, the importance of keeping Aaron Rodgers in the pocket. You see him move around. Greg Jennings, one of the sure-handed receivers in this group. Just a little mental error on the sideline.
Jeremy Kapanos will punt, left-footed punter for Green Bay. Quan Cosby is the return man. And Cosby's got a little bit of room to work with. Able to accelerate along the sideline and pick up some extra yards on special teams. Jared Bush getting down the field is a 38-yard punt and a 12-yard return. Penalty flag thrown back at the 45-yard line of Green Bay. Ed Hockley. So early penalty against Cincinnati didn't cost them defensively.
A member of the kicking team, number 41, was illegally downfield before the punt. That 5-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the punt return. Cincinnati keeps the ball, first down.
It's the 278th consecutive sellout here at Lambeau Field. No score. Bengals and the Packers. Cincinnati with the football for the first time today. Open up with a 2 tight end set. Ball placed at the 37-yard line of the Bengals. Benson is the single setback. Palmer to throw, looking to air it out on first down and complete over the middle. He finds J.P. Fashi. Motion man Andre Caldwell, 3 receivers set on a first down from the 49-yard line for Cincinnati. And flags come down. Packers will point it.
Offense, number 86. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
And it's Daniel Coates, the tight end. Remember, Reggie Kelly, normally the starter there, suffered a ruptured left Achilles tendon early August, placed on injured reserve. So right now, Marvin Lewis told us yesterday, hey, they're just trying to get by at tight end.
Well, they were sloppy last week. Obviously, the tight end situation is a concern, but the penalties, the drop balls, the turnovers, self-inflicted wounds, they didn't score a point until the last minute of that game. They have to get off to a better start.
Back it up, 5 yards, line of scrimmage, the 44. Handoff, it's Benson. He's got a running lane. And Cedric Benson, who knows a little bit about Lambeau Field, having been with the Chicago Bears. On a 2nd and 3. 6 offensive linemen right now for the Bengals. Give is to Benson, and Cedric Benson emerging through the hole into the second level, and he's got a first down. 12 yards again for Benson against this Green Bay defense. The empty backfield, out of the gun for Palmer. Palmer in some trouble, floats it upstairs, and it's caught by Ocho Cinco. They dealt with the rush coming, 11 yards. Palmer handled the pressure to Ocho Cinco.
And they want to get after Carson Palmer. They want to get him off the spot. They don't want him to get comfortable. He's a very streaky player, but he does a nice job sitting in there, waiting on Chad Ocho Cinco right here on the little in route. Good accuracy, good poise by Carson Palmer.
And the pressure came from the combination of Matthews and Jenkins for Green Bay. Another Cincinnati first down, driving in Green Bay territory. Give is to Benson. And Benson, great cut by Benson. Brought down inside the 10. Jeremy Johnson, the fullback, created some extra space. That's another 12-yard run for Cedric Benson.
Well, this is so important for this offense. You have to have success in the running game. They were 29th a year ago. They were 0-10-1 in games where they didn't rush for 100 yards. Cedric Benson has to be the key today. And I say a C note from Cedric. Some way, somehow, they have to find a way to get this running game going.
Cincinnati, 1st and goal inside the 10 of Green Bay. Handoff. Benson cutting it to the outside. And Cedric Benson with a spin move to pick up a little bit of extra yardage. 3.5, 4 yards, depending on the spot. Brady Papinga in on that tackle for Green Bay at 2nd and goal.
You know, it was interesting when we sat down last night and visited with Carson Palmer. You get the sense a quarterback, he wants to throw the ball, and he said, listen, we have to be a run-based offense first. Production has got to be the key. We didn't do a good job of that last year. Then off of that comes the big play-action shots, but we have to be patient with the run game.
2nd and goal now from the 5. Cincinnati looking to get on the board first. Cole's the motion man. Palmer fakes the handoff, throws, complete, touchdown, Lavernius Coles. Penalty marker on the play. Is this one coming back? Perfectly executed by Cincinnati, and they are celebrating. Looks like the points are going to stand.
And I said, how important was it to build off of that momentum last week? That final drive where they go 11 plays, 91 yards in 6 minutes. Carson Palmer, 6 of 6 for 70 yards.
Personal foul, illegal hands to the face, defense, number 31. That penalty will be enforced on the kickoff, 15 yards. The touchdown is good.
And that's the veteran Al Harris. Lavernius Coles has his first touchdown as a Bengal, the 10-year veteran. He's been such a dependable target through the years for the Jets and for Washington.
And we just talked about it. They play action shot right there when they run the ball well. Some of those big opportunities come off the play action.
Shane Graham on for the extra point. 7 plays, 63 yards, and Graham tacks it on it. Last week it took the Cincinnati Bengals 59+ minutes to put points on the board against Denver. Here today in Green Bay, 6.5 minutes, and they've got a 7-0 lead over the Packers. Shane Graham kicks it out of the end zone. Touchback for the Packers.
Let's go back. Look at the middle of the field. It's wide open, okay? So they have that. Keep an eye now on Charles Woodson. His eyes are going to be in the backfield. He's thinking run all the way, and then you're going to see Lavernius Coles he's wide open to the post. But the run action gets it done here. The eyes are in the backfield. Good fake by Carson Palmer. That's an easy throw and catch for the Bengals.
So Lavernius Coles and the Bengals with a 7-0 lead. Green Bay takes over at the 20-yard line. 2 tight ends set to open up on first down. Rodgers, short toss underneath. And Donald Lee getting in on the action, the starting tight end. Met by Keith Rivers, who's back out there for Cincinnati. Mike McCarthy calls the plays. He's the head coach in his 4th year with the Packers. On second down, Ryan Grant's got a hole. Able to shoot his way through it. Good block from Jason Spitz. It's an 8-yard gain. All right, JB, Jackson is a major talent out of Cal. And Philadelphia is on the board there. Ryan Grant gets the call, and Grant chugging hard to the outside for an 8-yard pickup. Alan Barber helping to make it happen for Grant on the perimeter. Mike McCarthy, you know, he's a Pittsburgh guy. Marvin Lewis is a Pittsburgh guy. They've got some history. There's a lot of intertwined relationships here, Rich.
Yeah, they coached together at the University of Pittsburgh. And you know Mike McCarthy, he wants to attack you vertically in the passing game. They're going to take some shots down the field. And when you're playing against a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, you have to defend the entire field.
On a 2nd and 2 now from the 42-yard line for the Packers. Rodgers straight back. Trying to check off, and it's incomplete. Ryan Grant, the intended receiver, looking to release. Robert Gathers applying pressure for Cincinnati. Bengals getting pressure on Rodgers. Rodgers, by the way, is 1 of 5 now for 6 yards in the early going. Rodgers to throw. Wide open. Spencer Havener. Big play for the Packers. 21 yards through the air.
Boy, obviously some confusion in this secondary. Spencer Havener, the 3rd tight end. You're going to see him right here at the bottom of your screen. Watch, the safety drops him. Both linebackers drop him in coverage. It's man-to-man. Obviously some confusion there. It looks like Maluga should have stayed with them in man-to-man coverage. In fact, both wind up jumping the crosser, the tight end Donald Lee, and leave Spencer Havener wide open.
Spencer Havener, a 4-year starter at UCLA as a linebacker, gets the catch for Green Bay. Handoff to Grant. 2nd and 8 now under Paul Hackett. And a throw towards the sideline. The veteran Donald Driver, the ageless one at 34 years old, 6 1,000-yard seasons, a 3-time Pro Bowler, matched up with Jonathan Joseph. And he picks up 6 yards.
Well, the thing where they have gotten better defensively, Cincinnati, is their ability to rush the passer. They're not letting Aaron Rodgers get comfortable. As you know, Green Bay was not happy last week with the play of that offensive line. They need to clean up some things. It's interesting, Ian, how they're attacking. They're running the ball, play action shots, and a lot of quick 3-step throws to keep that defense off balance.
8th play of the drive, a 3rd and 2. Packers are on the move inside the Cincinnati 30. Rodgers out of the gun. Rodgers in some trouble. Gets out of it, throwing on the move, and complete. James Jones. And a first down. Flag on the play, thrown back at the 38-yard line. Rodgers took a shot from the linebacker Brandon Johnson.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 59. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
Boy, I'm really impressed with Aaron Rodgers right now. His movement in the pocket. Just watch him. He's poised, he's patient, but watch him step up. Now watch him slide. And his escapability, his ability to use his legs and extend plays. And, of course, you see the late hit there by Brandon Johnson. But this is what you want from your quarterback. The ability, mobility, so important in today's game.
So it's a 16-yard play if you include the penalty as they place the football inside the 7-yard line. Packers knocking on the door here. Cincinnati with a 7-0 lead. Down to 4:35 to play in this first quarter. 1st and goal for Green Bay. Rodgers avoids it. Rodgers tuck and run, and he picks up a couple yards.
Now this one's on Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers should have handed this ball off. This is actually a called run. You're going to see the run action, but watch Aaron Rodgers. He decides to throw the built-in slant on the backside. He has that flexibility in this offensive system, but that was just a poor decision there on first down. They should have handed off and gone with the run.
He was able to get Chris Crocker in the air to buy some more time, but Dhani Jones among those there to bottle him up. 3 receivers set on a 2nd and goal. Grant single setback. Ryan Grant spin move, and a flag comes down. Johnson first man to greet him. Roy Williams also in on it, a 2-yard gain.
Illegal formation, offense, number 89, covered up an eligible receiver, number 88. 5-yard penalty, repeat second down.
So it works against James Jones, back it up.
That's just an example of 2 young players being irresponsible. James Jones and Jermichael Finley, 2 young players that should know better. I put that one on James Jones, the receiver. He should make sure that he is legal, and he has to help the young tight end.
Hey, Rich, they're going to turn it down. They would rather have Green Bay face a 3rd and goal at the 3 than back it up after the penalty. Jones heads to the sideline. Marvin Lewis elects to decline the penalty. Now 3rd and goal for the Packers.
And they love these empty backfield sets. They stretch the defense, they create personnel matchups, and the ball comes out quick.
Finley, the motion man. Rodgers, moving pocket. Pump fake. Rodgers looking, fires. Touchdown! Donald Driver. Aaron Rodgers threads the needle.
And this is a play that they work on over and over again. It's a staple in the West Coast offense. Sprint right option. Keep an eye right here on Donald Driver. When he works to the boundary, he's going to turn up and then come right back. And this just comes with experience. It's something that they do over and over again. Now watch him turn up right there. And Aaron Rodgers finds him on the boundary. Just a good alert play by a veteran receiver.
Mason Crosby on for the extra point. Donald Driver had 5 touchdowns last year. Rodgers to Driver. That's the touchdown connection. Covers 3 yards. Rodgers on that drive looked very sharp and nimble in the pocket. We are tied at 7, and Green Bay will kick off with Mason Crosby. Andre Caldwell is the deep man, standing right at the goal line for Cincinnati. This Packers offense ranked 8th in the NFL last year. We know what they're capable of. Caldwell, sun in his eyes, handles it 2 yards deep. Can he turn the corner? Little shake and bake. He can't get to the 20. Spencer Havener. Cincinnati Bengals have the football at the 17-yard line to open this drive. Palmer picked off, intercepted by Woodson. Charles Woodson still on his feet and finally brought down. Ocho Cinco, intended receiver.
Well, he gets beat with the blitz right here. Watch, the pressure is going to come right here. The safety stems down, and what happens is he tries to throw right into the heart of the blitz. He tries to throw a back shoulder throw, and Charles Woodson ain't buying. He's sitting right there underneath it, waiting for it, knowing that he has help over the top. Just a poor decision by a veteran quarterback like Carson Palmer.
And the 5-time Pro Bowler who had 7 interceptions last season comes up with the pick. The Packers take over with a 1st and 10 at the 11-yard line of Cincinnati. 3:06 to play in this first quarter. Palmer had 2 interceptions last week in the loss to Denver.
When you go back to preseason, this is a defense that has thrived on taking the ball away and creating scoring opportunities for this offense.
Shotgun formation for Rodgers. Little floater over the middle. Ryan Grant has some space to work with. And Grant shuffles his way to the 5 as Roy Williams cuts him down. It's a 7-yard pickup.
They do a very good job with their usage of personnel. I'm talking about the Packers. They bring a lot of people on and off the field, and you can see in that last play, Ryan Grant, he is a great screen runner. You have to be aware of this guy in the passing game.
Well, Rich, you alluded to it, 124 points off of turnovers last year for Green Bay, the most in the NFL. And trying to take the lead here, 2.5 to go, first quarter. Double tight end set with Lee and Finley. To the ground game. Ryan Grant waltzes in. Touchdown, Packers. All set up by the Palmer interception. Woodson with the pick, and the Packers offense takes over from there.
The thing you have to defend is this stretch play, is the wind back, and that's what they do. They do a good job winding it to that backside A-gap between the center and the guard, and you have to be consistent defensively. You have to stay home in your run fits.
That north-south running style of Ryan Grant, a 4-yard touchdown run for the former Notre Dame star. Woodson with the interception, and Green Bay with a 14-7 lead over Carson Palmer and the Bengals. So the Packers will kick off with Mason Crosby. Strong leg, third-year kicker out of Colorado. And that one will send it back to the 20-yard line for the Bengals. Now let's see if Cincinnati goes back to the ground game, which was so effective on the Bengals' opening drive. Cedric Benson up the middle, leaning forward for 3 yards on first down. Aaron Rouse and Brandon Chiller. Chiller has been a big part of this defense and really settling in and has found his niche for the Packers.
I think he gives them so much flexibility. I mean, the ability to play the run, the ability to blitz. He's very good at that. He's very agile, and the ability to drop in coverage. So I think he provides great flexibility in Dom Capers' scheme.
Chiller, former St. Louis Ram, now in his 6th year in the NFL from UCLA. Chris Henry has checked in for Cincinnati. Big target for Carson Palmer to work with on a 2nd and 7. Miscommunication there. Finally gets the ball to Benson, who makes it happen. Oh boy, Benson able to work his way out across the 35. And an official took a shot. Umpire in on that play. Chad Brown, he got caught in the fray as Benson made his move.
Well, look at the Packers. They're going to bring this pressure right up the middle. There's some confusion in terms of footwork in the running game, but boy, did they just hit this one right. Good patience by Cedric Benson. He's got great vision. He's great in the open field.
And Chad Brown appears to be okay. Got knocked around a bit. Benson used him as a blocker. First down for Cincinnati. Play action. Palmer steps up. Palmer throws underneath. And the fullback, Jeremy Johnson, back with the Bengals. He was released last year. Injury settlement, had some weight issues. 9-yard gain for Johnson in the passing game. And Cincinnati, forget about the turnover. It's hard to forget about it, but the Bengals have looked strong and have had rhythm on offense.
And this is good to see. Good patience by Carson Palmer. You know, Marvin Lewis told us that he was much better at working the ball underneath coverage instead of forcing balls downfield, and I think that is important here today.
46-yard line of scrimmage, handoff. It's Benson, and Benson's got himself a first down. 3-yard gain for Benson. Big first quarter for Cedric Benson. He was ripping off 12-yard gains after 12-yard gains on that first drive. Had a 13-yard gain earlier on this drive. And now Benson officially 59 yards on 7 carries. Ian Eagle, Rich Gannon, the rest of our CBS crew back here at Lambeau Field. Opened back in 1957, had a $295 million renovation in 2003. Start of the second quarter, and the Packers with a 14-7 lead over Cincinnati. Bengals, though, have the ball near midfield and a penalty marker to start out this second quarter.
False start, offense, number 85, 5-yard penalty. That's first down.
Now the fans are going to react to that. It's Ocho Cinco called on the false start.
And that's unacceptable. You know, they had penalties, 3 of them last week that nullified first downs. He had 2 of them. And you just don't expect that from a veteran player like Chad Ochocinco.
Now, Ochocinco this week talking about doing a Lambeau leap. Wants the fans to accept him.
Not going to happen here.
No, I don't see it happening here. Got to score a touchdown first.
I'm talking in terms of the acceptance part.
Oh, the touchdown may happen, you're saying. Play clock winding down. Handoff to Benson, and Cedric Benson running hard. And a 4-yard pickup. Penalty marker down on the play. Brandon Chiller in on another stop for the Packers defensively. We're just underway here in the second quarter.
Holding, offense, number 77. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Reverse first down.
That's Andrew Whitworth. How about this revamped offensive line for Cincinnati and Marvin Lewis?
Well, there's been a number of changes along this offensive line. They had to replace Stacey Andrews, Eric Guychek, Levi Jones. They have 2 different tackles in there. Anthony Collins struggled last week. We just heard Whitworth. They must play better. I think there's 5 new starters on this offense. People don't really talk about that. My sense is they're still finding their way in terms of the timing and the rhythm.
And remember, they drafted Andre Smith early in the first round. He signed on August 30th. Foot injury on September 1st. He's trying to work his way back onto the field. Shotgun formation. Palmer, deep throw, and broken up. Cole's the intended target. We saw all the Packers in the area, including USC's own Clay Matthews, the rookie.
And they got the matchup they wanted. They got Lavernius Coles on Aaron Campman. Believe it or not, he's right here. You're going to see him drop in zone coverage. A pretty good job by the old defensive end playing in space. And, of course, you see the rookie, Clay Matthews, get in there as well.
Yeah, we'll talk about that transition for Aaron Campman. Developing a very close relationship with his position coach, Kevin Green, who also knows a little bit something about making that kind of change. Linebacker and defensive end. Shotgun again. Palmer. Rainbow delivery. And hauled in. Incomplete. Out of bounds. Chris Henry was the target. Collins over there. Nick Collins went to the Pro Bowl last year with the stick.
And this is what I'm talking about, the timing and the rhythm. That they say in the National Football League, if you wait, you're late. You see, he can't even get that other foot in there. He gets hit by Nick Collins.
So now 3rd and long for Cincinnati. Henry's trying to find his role right now. He's the 4th receiver with Ocho Cinco, Coles, and Andre Caldwell in front of him. We know he's a big play threat. Now in his 5th year from West Virginia. Nickel package with Tramon Williams for Green Bay. Pump fake. Palmer. Soft toss to Brian Leonard, and nothing there. Leonard spun down just shy of the 40-yard line, and the Bengals forced to punt. A 6-yard pickup. Charles Woodson helping out to make that play defensively.
Well, that's what you expect on long numbers like that. 3rd and real long, screen or draw, you have to be very aware of those situations.
Kevin Huber on to punt it. Rookie out of Cincinnati, originally from Cincinnati. Directional punter. Replaces Kyle Larson for the Bengals. Will Blackman is the deep man. And this one will roll into the end zone for the touchback. And penalty marker thrown back at the 39-yard line of Cincinnati. 61-yard punt, a net of 41. 5 penalties so far against the Bengals. 2 called against Green Bay, or at least 2 accepted.
They don't want to re-kick.
Again, Ed Hockley taking care of business before he turns on the microphone.
Oh, okay.
Holding by the receiving team, number 55, while the punt was in the air. That penalty is enforced from the 20-yard line back to the 10. Green Bay keeps the ball, 1st down.
Rejoining you here in Green Bay, Packers 14, Cincinnati 7, early stages, 2nd quarter. Packers take over 1st and 10 at their own 10-yard line after the punt from Cincinnati. Hand off to Ryan Grant. And Grant able to accelerate out across the 15-yard line. Call it a 2nd and 2 here for Green Bay. Keep it on the ground. And Grant has nowhere to go. He's bottled up for no gain. Cincinnati was prepared for it defensively, led by the charge of Tank Johnson, along with Pat Sims. 9 carries, 36 yards. You know, we asked Rodgers about last year. We know what he had to deal with replacing a legend. A little bit surprised when you asked him about who he leaned on to get advice.
Yeah, you know, he mentioned Steve Young, and I thought that was interesting. You know, Steve Young obviously replacing a legend like Joe Montana. He said he was a league MVP, and he was still being booed. I think the big thing that Aaron took from that, you have to create your own legacy. You do that by winning a Super Bowl. 2
fullbacks trying to block for Ryan Grant, and Grant gets pushed around short of the marker. Domata Peko, 4th year active defensive tackle out of Michigan State. Led the D-line in tackles last year. Excellent strength up front. No gain on the play, and the Packers have to punt.
You know, 5 of the 11 drives that Denver had last week against this Cincinnati defense were 3 and outs. You talk with Mike Zimmer, he feels good about this group. He feels good about that defensive line.
They actually held Denver to 10 first downs. That was the fewest by any offense in week 1 in the NFL. Jeremy Kapanos, and flags come down.
Start offense, number 24, 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
They'll back it up. Jared Bush on special teams.
And you can see the frustration from Mike McCarthy. They get a penalty on special teams to begin the drive. They get a penalty there. And you talk about the battle of field position. It's so critical in a game like this.
It's the 11th all-time meeting between these two teams. Series is tied at 5-5. Low snap. Capanos handles it. Quan Cosby should have room to work with. Cosby from the 34 for Cincinnati. Wow. Cosby turns it upfield. Cosby to the 20. Cosby brought down inside the 10. A.J. Hawk on special teams. Boy, what a return by Quan Cosby, the rookie from Texas. 60 yards.
And he does a nice job. He sets it up, and he's very patient. And you could see this wedge forming to the right side of your screen. Watch him start coming down, and then right here, you're going to see this wedge begin to form. And he does a nice job setting up these blocks. You see all the Bengals peeling back, and then he gets one-on-one with the punter.
Nearly took it the distance for the Bengals. And set it up with a 1st and goal at the 6. Dennis Rowland has come on as an eligible receiver. 6 offensive linemen on a pitch. Benson trying to take the corner. Benson shedding a tackler, and flags come down. He was wrapped up just short of the goal line. Whistle blew, no play.
Before the snap, ball start, offense. The left guard, number 62. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Well, Hockley getting specific with Evan Mathis. 6 penalties costing the Bengals 43 yards here in the first half.
And in this part of the field, we talk about the importance every week of knowing your assignment and doing it efficiently. Mental errors and missed assignments so far have plagued the Bengals.
First and goal for Cincinnati. Back it up outside of the 10-yard line. Motion man Caldwell. 3 receivers set. Handoff Benson. Boy, like he was shot out of a cannon right up the gut. Cedric Benson running with confidence. Aaron Rouse took a shot trying to bring him down. Collins finally got in there.
And watch the backside of this protection, of this blocking up front. They're doing a great job. Both offensive lines opening up some holes. And watch the backs winding it back. Good patience, setting the Mike linebacker, and then working back in that backside A-gap between the center and the guard.
Big numbers for Benson. First half. 2nd and goal from the 3. Benson stays on his feet. Excellent second effort and nearly got to pay dirt. Little bit short. Johnny Jolly among those there for the Packers. Give Benson a gain of 2. It'll set up 3rd and goal from the 1.
And he has the pleasure of working behind his fullback, Jeremy Johnson, who just happens to be, 275 pounds. You just watch him follow the fullback there.
On 3rd and goal, Palmer keeps it himself for the touchdown. Cincinnati sneaky up the middle, physical at the line of scrimmage, and the Bengals a point after away from tying this one up.
Good job there with the quick count. They get up at the line of scrimmage, they catch the Packers off guard, and Carson Palmer takes it over for the quick score. Just watch it. Look at the push up front. Good job by Carson Palmer working to his right, the soft part of that defense, and just trying to stick that ball over the line of scrimmage.
All right, now Mike McCarthy wants to take a look at it. He doesn't believe that Palmer got in.
Ruling the challenging on the field of a touchdown.
Carson Palmer, a 1-yard touchdown plunge for Cincinnati. The question, does Ed Hockley have enough evidence to overturn this?
The ruling on the field stands as called. It's a touchdown, and Green Bay is charged with their first timeout.
We'll show you as many looks as we've got of Carson Palmer going in for the touchdown.
Well, it's hard to really tell from this angle whether or not it looks like the ball is starting to come out, but the line judge really has the best angle. But you can see right here at the top of your screen, he's actually screened initially by Chad Ochocinco. So he comes across later and then signals the touchdown.
So because it was called a touchdown on the field, you would have to have enough evidence to overturn it. Green Bay gets charged the timeout after the challenge from McCarthy. And Graham tacks on the extra point. 3-play drive for Cincinnati set up by the 60-yard return by Cosby. And the Bengals have tied this one up 14 apiece. 10:21 to go, first half. It has been windy here in Green Bay, and that ball comes off the tee. Shane Graham will kick it off. Will Blackman is the deep man for the Packers. Blackman getting into the groove here. Playing Sean Kingston here over the loudspeakers. I'm versatile. I could call out music. Blackman from the 1. And Blackman stays on his feet. Spin move just shy of the 30-yard line. Bernard Scott on special teams, a 29-yard return.
They've been very methodical. They've been patient. They've done a better job this week staying normal in terms of the down and distance. And Aaron Rodgers, to me, has looked really sharp.
Aaron Rodgers so far 6 of 10, 59 yards. Does have the touchdown to Donald Driver. Rodgers, rush coming, and Rodgers loses the football. Recovered as Brandon Johnson knocked it free. Alan Barber, the starting right tackle, now in his 3rd year out of Missouri Southern State, able to recover it. Loss of 8.
We talked about the improvement in terms of the pass rush for the Bengals. You see right here, the youngster Maluga. He has been explosive. When you talk with their defense, he doesn't do everything right, but he does it fast, and he's sure around the ball a lot. Good alert play by the rookie.
Maluga, they have just been really impressed with his football IQ. He brings so much intensity to the field. Rookie out of USC. Rodgers on a give. Ryan Grant up the middle for 3. Fans react here in Green Bay as Fanene cuts him down. 5th-year defensive tackle from Utah.
You know, you talk with their defensive coordinator, Mike Zimmer, last night. He said, you know, this defense, he says, we're not Pittsburgh or Baltimore yet, but that's the direction we're heading. And I really see that. They're a much more aggressive style. They're attacking people. They're not sitting back and waiting. And I think that fits the style for these players.
3rd and 15 now for the Packers. Out of the gun. Deshaun Wynn, the running back, he's parallel with Rodgers, and flags come down.
Timeout Cincinnati. That's their first.
Packers and Bengals tied at 14 with 8:48 to go in this first half. Green Bay with a 3rd and 15 after the timeout called by Cincinnati. Nickel package here for Cincinnati, and Dukeway is in there. And flags come down again.
Boy, it's been sloppy, hasn't it?
False start, offense, left tackle. 5-yard penalty, it's 3rd down.
The veteran Chad Clifton. And
this Green Bay team, 31st in the NFL last year in penalties, trying to clean that up. It's been a problem here today. Deshaun Wynn in the backfield with Rodgers out of the gun. Rodgers steps, Rodgers in trouble, little dump off. And it looked like that was trapped. It's incomplete. Donald Lee, they're trying to grab it. Gathers providing pressure and the heat on Aaron Rodgers. Cincinnati doing a nice job defensively, giving Rodgers something to think about.
And what they're doing is they're doing a good job, these defensive ends, getting upfield, forcing Aaron Rodgers to have to step up in that pocket, and then they're getting good push inside from Tank Johnson and Pecco, and it's making it very difficult for Aaron Rodgers to set his feet and deliver.
Now let's see what Green Bay has learned on special teams after Quan Cosby nearly burned them for a touchdown. A 60-yard return on his last attempt. Hapanos, and a penalty marker on the play.
False start, offense, number 24, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
And it's Jared Bush again.
And you know, they have a new special teams coach here in Green Bay, and Sean Slocum, and they've worked all off season with these young players, getting back to basics, the fundamentals, the techniques. And you come out here and they have false starts, and you see right there, they pull them right out of the game.
So Capito standing now at his own goal line, and Cosby at the 38. Trying to put this one towards the sideline, bunch up against Cosby from the 35. And much better job of coverage down the field for Green Bay. Corey Hall making the play on special teams. A 50-yard punt, a 6-yard return. And what a story. Benson finding a home in Cincinnati after being released by Chicago last year. Palmer engulfed by Cullen Jenkins. Well, the big fella has that great first step. He's an excellent fit in this 3-4 alignment, a loss of 8.
You're going to see him. He's right here on the right side of your screen. He's just going to come right back up inside. He beats Andrew Whitworth across his face. Just good quickness. Back up inside, and Carson Palmer can't react.
They gave up 3 sacks last week in the loss to Denver. Now spread the field out of the gun on 2nd and 18 for Palmer.
Well, they give you so many different looks, and they do a great job disguising coverage.
Palmer, pick 6. Charles Woodson, interception untouched. Touchdown Packers.
Charles Woodson is the guy you have to really track in the nickel coverages. He lines up inside on the slot, and we talk about disguising intentions. You see Carson Palmer, he never feels Charles Woodson right there in the flat coverage, and that's a mismatch. Charles Woodson on the tight end, Daniel Copes. Well, that's 2 interceptions already for Charles Woodson.
38-yard interception return for the 12-year veteran. Touchdown on the board, 21-14. 38th career interception for the 1997 Heisman Trophy winner Charles Woodson, former teammate of yours with the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, I competed against this guy in practice every day. He's a very cagey veteran. He's a guy that does a great job anticipating throws and then really driving and taking great angles.
And we asked him about playing for Dom Capers. He said, hey, I've had at least 6 different defensive coordinators in my career. Capers is a no-nonsense guy. He's a great teacher. He's been terrific to work with.
Very detailed.
Andre Caldwell from the goal line. And what a shift here in the second quarter. Corey Hall getting down the field to make the play.
This isn't very complicated. You go back and look at it, you're going to see Charles Woodson right here, and you see Coates. All he's going to do is go up and work to the boundary. And this is a throw, a simple throw and catch for a guy like Carson Palmer. But you always have to see out in front of the throw. And I'm surprised that he didn't feel Charles Woodson, who was just playing out there in safety zone coverage. He had the short flat. You see Dom Capers right there. This defense, the thing that's been so great, players have balled in, and they've generated a lot of turnovers.
Yeah, Capers told us their goal, just take doubt out of the equation for these players. He feels like the gray area is now disappearing. Handoff to Cedric Benson, able to shed 1 tackler and move forward for an extra yard. Ryan Pickett. Now 2 return for touchdowns as Benson gets another carry and stumbles his way forward. Running off tackle for a gain of 4. Aaron Rouse in on that stop for the Packers. Clock is moving. Now 6:50 and counting left in this first half.
You know, while that was very uncharacteristic of a quarterback like Carson Palmer, the thing you know about him, he has a very short memory. He'll be able to come back, forget about it, and really focus in on the next series of events, the next sequence of plays. That's what a good veteran quarterback gives you.
Palmer, franchise record holder for Cincinnati, completion percentage, career passer rating, season marks for touchdowns, yards, completions. And a timeout will be taken with 6:26 to go in this second quarter. Bengals have 1 more timeout to work with, and Green Bay with a 21-14 lead. Evan Mathis had an equipment problem, his shoe. That's why Cincinnati was forced to take a timeout. 4 receivers set on a 3rd and 3. Brian Leonard now in there for Cincinnati on 3rd down. Shotgun for Palmer. Protection holds up. And little floater is caught by Lavernius Coles. Forward progress should give him the first down, and it will. Cincinnati out across the 30-yard line. Good second effort. And an injury on the field, though, for Green Bay. That is Nick Collins. So they get Collins upright. Medical staff is out there. Bush in his 4th year out of Utah State, mostly a special teams performer. Another look at it. Collins went in for he got hit by his own man. It was Johnny Jolly. Yep.
And Johnny Jolly's a big man. You can see right there. You know if it's a shoulder.
It's that arm. Something he's holding it gingerly, walking off.
It's those hits that you don't anticipate or expect that really hurt.
So already down a man because of the Atari Bigby injury. Collins now is sent to the sideline. Bush will step in for him. And Cincinnati has a fresh set of downs to work with 5:50 and counting left in this first half. 21-14, Packers leading the Bengals. Hand off to Benson. It just could not find an opening. That initial wave, Benson felt it. Charles Woodson, and that's another thing Woodson told us about Dom Capers. He has never been a part of a defense where they have allowed the corners to help out in run support and be as aggressive in blitzing as this defense has.
Well, that's what you get with Al Harris and Charles Woodson. They can play man, they can play zone. They're very physical in run support, and the great thing about them, both of them can blitz.
So no gain on the play. 2nd and 10 now for the Bengals. Benson by himself in the backfield, and Palmer checking off the line of scrimmage. Packers will mix it up defensively. Check off into a running play, and there's a hole. Benson squeezing through it, and a flag down.
I think there's a reason why there was a hole, because there was a hold offensively. A little bit of chess match going on.
Offense number 77. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
Now that's Andrew Whitworth starting at left tackle. He was the starting left guard last year. One of the leaders on this offensive line. Now in his 4th year from LSU, won a national title there.
You know, the interesting thing, Carson Palmer, a very alert, very astute player. He changes the play at the line of scrimmage because he anticipates pressure from this Green Bay defense. As soon as he changed the play, the Packers audible out of their own blitz and get into coverage, and that's the chess match that you're going to see all day between Carson Palmer and this Green Bay defense.
2nd and 20 now from the 21-yard line. From the gun. Rush is coming. Palmer avoids it and is buried. Too many green jerseys in the area. Matthews supplied that first initial burst. And a loss of 9 on the play.
And this is what they want to make him do. They want to get him off the spot. They want to force him to move around. He's not quite 100% with that ankle, I don't believe. They know he can make all the throws from the pocket. The key, make him uncomfortable and force him to move, particularly to his left.
They gave the sack officially to Johnny Jolly, but it was Matthews who really made it happen. And we know about the bloodlines in Matthews' family, the rookie out of USC.
Boy, Chad Ochocinco has been very quiet so far here today.
1 catch, 11 yards. That's it for 85.
And you know, when you talk about doing the Lambeau leap, you bring a lot of attention to yourself. And these two corners.
Offense. 5-yard penalty. It's 3rd down.
Boy, just another mistake offensively. But when you bring attention to yourself, particularly in an environment like this in Green Bay, particularly when you're going up against Al Harris, who's a 12-year veteran, and Charles Woodson, who's a 12-year veteran, perennial Pro Bowl players, you're asking for a difficult day. These guys have taken it upon themselves to shut down Chad Ochocinco.
Collins going to the locker room early. We're down to 3:40 to play. First half, it's 3rd and 34. Set up the screen, Daniel Coates. He's got running room and loses the football. Coates trying to regather. Cullen Jenkins knocked it free. Packers claim they've got it. Coates was able to make his way towards the football. It's going to be a first down for Cincinnati.
How about that? 3rd and 34, and they call a screen to Daniel Coates, and they get it. Good job by Lavernius Coles getting in there and the bottom of that pile fighting for that football.
It's a 39-yard play as Coles comes up with the recovery. Coates, who started at fullback last season for Cincinnati, off the screen pass.
And good job. You see the guard out in front. And good hustle play by Cullen Jenkins getting the strip, but they somehow find a way to come up with it.
That's 6'2", 305 pounds, giving chase to knock the ball free. As you mentioned, heads up play by Coles. Jenkins will get a breather. And Palmer now 7 of 11, 85 yards. He's got the 2 picks. Oh, flea flicker. Little trickery. Palmer throwing and caught by Ocho Cinco. Curls it upfield and finally brought down inside the 15. Bush and Rouse.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense number 31. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
Al Harris called on the penalty. The 2007 Pro Bowler with the hit on the quarterback. Ocho Cinco, he gets involved, Rich.
I'll tell you what, this is great anticipation by Carson Palmer. You just watch here, they run the flea flicker. They're going to fool the defense. But watch, he throws this ball so early, he's not even out of his break yet. Just great anticipation by Carson Palmer.
So they place the football at the 5 after the penalty. Johnson in front of Benson in the backfield. Bengals looking to tie this one up. Palmer on a handoff. Benson busting it to the outside. Benson unable to turn the corner, and a flag comes down in the backfield. Charles Woodson over there. No gain on the play. And another penalty marker. 8 against Cincinnati, 7 against Green Bay in this first half.
And unfortunately for Cincinnati.
Offense number 63. 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
And unfortunately for Cincinnati, Ian, so many have come in this part of the field. And this is where you have to be at your best. It just makes it so much more difficult for offensive coordinator Bob Bretkowski to dial up these plays. And by the way, he has done a phenomenal job keeping this Green Bay defense off balance. They've run the ball well, they've mixed in some play action, and they've taken some shots with some trickery down the field.
Penalty against the steady veteran now in his 10th year, Bobby Williams. First and goal from the 15 for the Bengals. Shotgun. Palmer throws. It's complete to Caldwell. And Caldwell goes down at the 7. Charles Woodson with the coverage for Green Bay. A pickup of 8 through the air. Second and goal for Cincinnati from the Green Bay 7. 2 minutes to play in this first half. The Packers lead by 7. Handoff, Benson. Able to break one tackle, but then the pursuit comes from Green Bay. Nick Barnett with the stop. Nick Collins, it is a shoulder injury. His return is questionable for this Packers defense. Brings up 3rd and goal now for the Bengals.
Boy, Cedric Benson has been shifty. Usually the first guy, he makes a miss. They're really hoping he can be the workhorse back this team has lacked since Rudy Johnson's heyday, and so far he has looked very good today.
3rd and goal from the 5.
Timeout Cincinnati. That's their 3rd and final timeout. 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's great coming into Green Bay, doing a football game. You never quite know who you're going to see. We go to dinner on Friday night at the Union Hotel. Who's right in front of us, Rich Gannon, but Bart Starr.
Does it get any better than that?
No.
You go to dinner, an old famous place here in town where the old players used to go, actually alumni weekend, and we run into Bart Starr.
And he ordered the walleye, I understand.
That's as good as it gets.
3rd and goal from the 5. 1:28 to play, first half.
You can see it. The pressure's coming. Ball's got to come out quick.
3 receivers to work with. Shotgun, Palmer steps, throws, back of the end zone. Chris Henry, he's got it. Touchdown, Cincinnati. Palmer quiets the crowd here in Green Bay with a 5-yard score.
That is not a good play by Carson Palmer. That is a phenomenal play. And the reason why, his pre-snap recognition, he's going to bring in the receiver to help block. Now he gets inside to a 7-man protection, and he allows himself some time to find Henry in the back of the end zone. But just good alertness by Carson Palmer, a veteran guy who's been through this a number of times.
High snap. And Shane Graham. We talked to Marvin Lewis about the frustration of last week, and he said, look, I don't buy into this idea that we have to see if the Bengals can bounce back. It was one play in one game, and I think that was the message to his team this week. Cincinnati has come out in this first half. They have not been intimidated. They've gone toe-to-toe with the Green Bay Packers, and this game is tied at 21 with 1:24 to play, second quarter.
I think he feels pretty good about this roster. There's been a lot of turnover, and I think he finally feels like he has his players that will compete, that will play hard, and that will finish football games. We saw some of that last week.
Graham on the kickoff. Will Blackman from a yard deep in the end zone. Blackman cutting it to the perimeter and has no more room to work with as he slipped down out at the 24-yard line for Green Bay.
Well, Ryan, you and I have been to a lot of Friday practices in the National Football League, and I don't know that anybody that works more on 2-minute offense than the Green Bay Packers. They actually have a walkthrough period. They have a full 7-on-7 period, and they do a team period. They spend a lot of time in this area.
They've got 1:16 to work with on the clock. Rodgers. And a drop over the middle by Ryan Grant.
Boy, a bunch of drops so far today, and that can be frustrating for a quarterback. You're trying to find your rhythm. You always want to start a 2-minute series with a completion, even if it's a check down to the back to get some positive yards. Now you get yourself in a 2nd and 10 situation, and you have to be careful.
Aaron Rodgers talked to him about leadership with this team. He said it's got to be natural. There's nothing that he's done consciously, but he has seen a heightened level of respect now compared to a year ago in that Packer locker room. On a 2nd and 10, Rodgers fires. And fortunate, he was looking for Donald Driver. Flag comes down at the 40.
I think Chris Crocker might have gotten there a split second too soon. But what you know with both of these safeties, they are physical players, and they will come up and hit you. I think this is one of the areas where they are better in the back end. Crocker and Roy Williams, I like both of these safeties.
Pass interference, defense, number 42. The ball is placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
And Crocker, former Falcon, former Brown, former Dolphin. It's a 17-yard penalty.
You just watch right there in the middle of your screen. Donald Driver, boy, that was pretty close. See the penalties. Penalties a big issue in this game.
The ruling on the field is that the ball was not tipped.
So, first down for Green Bay at the 41-yard line. Williams talked about the chemistry that he and Crocker have been able to develop in a very short period of time. They're both big hitters. And the Packers now on the move with 1:06 to play. First half. Out route. Driver. Big gain out along the sideline into Cincinnati territory.
And that's the matchup that we thought was going to be a problem for Cincinnati today. These safeties who are good physical run support guys trying to match up against these quicker receivers from Green Bay, guys like Donald Driver. That's the matchup that Aaron Rodgers has been looking for.
Yeah, just looked at the numbers here, Rich. Jennings has not been involved. Greg Jennings had the huge game last week. No catches here today. Went 6 for 106 and a touchdown. The game-winning 50-yard score last week. And Rodgers looking for James Jones. Incomplete. 58 seconds to play, first half.
Well, he just missed a little bit, but Aaron Rodgers throws a very firm ball. And as a receiver, you have to get your head around and see the throw. That's very important, but they're just missing by a little bit on some of these quicker short throws.
Now, you asked him about the difference between last year and this year, and he talked about really consistency with his fundamentals and maybe footwork being the biggest thing for Aaron Rodgers, that he has been more consistent this year than a year ago. Deshaun Wynn in the backfield, Rodgers out of the gun. Protection is there initially, now he's in trouble. And Rodgers is thrown down. Antoine Odom, he had a pair of sacks last week, and Odom registers a sack here in the late stages of the second quarter, and a big one for Cincinnati.
Timeout Green Bay.
You're going to see Antoine Odom right here at the bottom of your screen, matched up against Chad Clifton. I put a little of this on Aaron Rodgers as well. In this situation, you know you can't hold it, and you have to throw that ball away. Just a poor decision by Aaron Rodgers. You talk about Antoine Odom. Last week, 2 sacks. They've gotten much better at rushing the passer, something they didn't do a very good job of a year ago.
They had 3 sacks last week against Denver. They've got 2 sacks so far this week. Packers have allowed 6.
Well, the hits, the hurries, and the knockdowns begin to take their toll on a quarterback. Trust me, I can tell you that. And Aaron Rodgers was knocked down a lot last week. He was sacked 4 times. You want to be comfortable in that pocket. You want to trust the protection, but it's very difficult when you're not able to set your feet.
Trying to get Mason Crosby into makeable field goal range. 50 seconds left. Moving pocket. Rodgers didn't see anything he liked initially downfield. Rodgers staying on his feet. Now finds the open man, Donald Lee. And Lee comes out across the 40-yard line. Chris Crocker able to bring him down low. It's an 8-yard pickup after the scramble by Rodgers.
And if you're the defensive lineman for Cincinnati, you're starting to get frustrated. Aaron Rodgers is a hard guy to track down. And he's forcing this defensive line to run around a lot more, and he's going to wear him out.
Right now, they're looking at about a 55-yard attempt for Mason Crosby.
What they'll do is they'll bring the clock all the way down and take one shot. Cincinnati has no timeouts left, so Mike McCarthy and the Packers have this luxury to bring the clock all the way down and decide what they want to do.
So 3 seconds remain, and they'll give Crosby a shot here. He's going to get a shot to give Green Bay the lead heading to the locker room here.
Well, the thing I know about Mason Crosby, he has a plenty strong enough leg to make this kick. I've seen him kick balls from 60 yards in warm-ups, 55-yarder here. The length should not be a problem for him.
55-yard attempt. Backup quarterback Matt Flynn will hold it. Brett Good is the snapper. Packers looking for the lead at halftime. From 55 yards away, Crosby, no good. Off to the left.
Plenty of distance, just missed it left.
So Green Bay will kick it off to open play in this third quarter. Andre Caldwell is the deep man for Cincinnati. Second half is underway from Green Bay. Caldwell from a yard deep in the end zone. Middle of the field, Caldwell, and tripped up as he crossed the 25-yard line for the Bengals. Desmond Bishop on special teams making the tackle for the Packers. 29-yard return. Palmer in that first half, 10 of 14, 127 yards. Couple of touchdown passes, 2 interceptions, and a rushing touchdown for Palmer, that 1-yard sneak. So as the Packers have taken touchdown leads, Cincinnati has been able to answer each time.
That's the guy he needs to find in the second half. Every single snap, you have to find out where Charles Woodson is lined up.
Woodson with 2 interceptions. He took 1 back for a touchdown in that first half. Benson in the backfield along with Johnson. They give it to Benson. And Cedric Benson running hard out across the 30. It's a 5-yard pickup. Aaron Campman in on that stop. Palmer went to the Pro Bowl in 2005, 2006. Injuries began to affect him. Only 4 games last year because of the elbow injury. Handoff to Benson. And Cedric Benson continues to turn it into positive yards. There wasn't a whole lot there. Al Harris making the stop. It's a 2-yard pickup. Sets up 3rd and short now for Cincinnati. Opening drive of this second half.
The Cincinnati offensive line has quietly gone about their business here in this football game, and they have done a nice job. They've given Carson Palmer some time, but I've been really impressed with their ability to go north and south in the running game. They've opened up some big holes for Cedric Benson.
Rushing yards, 86 as a team so far for the Bengals. You talk about that magic number, getting over 100. This team 0-10-1 since the beginning of 08 when rushing for less than 100 yards. Pump fake, Palmer throwing, deep ball, sideline, and it's incomplete. Ocho Cinco intended receiver, and a flag thrown at midfield. Matched up with Tramon Williams out on the perimeter. Penalties a big part of the storyline so far. 10 against Cincinnati, 7 against Green Bay.
Before the pass was thrown, illegal contact, defense number 38. That 5-yard penalty is an automatic first down.
And it is the nickelback, Tramon Williams, now in his 3rd year from Louisiana Tech.
And this is just a good job, good recognition by Carson Palmer. He's got his best receiver against the Packers' 3rd corner in Tramon Williams.
You're looking at the numbers. Ocho Cinco has not gone over 100 yards receiving in a game since December 30th, 2007. Put up 131 with 2 touchdowns against Miami. Obviously last year, Palmer was just not in there enough. to help Ocho Cinco in the passing game. Give is to Benson. And Cedric Benson cutting into the outside. Charles Woodson again in run support. It's a 4-yard pickup for Benson, now in his 5th year from Texas. And when we sat down with him yesterday, asked him about this whole transition, he said, look, I didn't know where my career was headed. When the Bears gave up on me, this turned out to be a wonderful surprise. I made the most of the opportunity, and now he's a #1 running back in the NFL with the Bengals.
And I think the absence of Carson Palmer last year really hurt his production in the running game. There were so many 8-man fronts, it was very difficult for him to run.
He's looked like the real deal here today. Cedric Benson, 16 carries, 89 yards against this Packers defense. Give it to Benson again. Little stutter step. And Benson waits for a hole to emerge and falls forward for a gain of 4. Again, Charles Woodson with the tackle.
Well, I just got the sense when you sat down with Cedric Benson last night that he was going to have a big game. He just exudes confidence. You know, my comment to you was not the biggest guy, but boy, he's got some powerful hands.
Yeah, meat hooks.
And he holds on to that football, and he has the ability to run with some power. He's got great vision, and he knows how to finish runs.
3rd and 2, Brian Leonard comes on. It's a 4-receiver set, so they'll spread the field out near the 50.
Boy, you have to track these safeties.
Palmer looking, throws, knocked away. Ocho Cinco intended target on the slant. Tramon Williams making the play defensively for Green Bay, and the Bengals are forced to punt.
Boy, isn't that interesting? They went right back after the same matchup, Ocho Cinco and Tramon Williams. Tramon Williams does a much better job, though, jumping back inside. A better throw there might get it done. On those slant throws, you can't hit them on the back number. You got to get it in front of them.
Kevin Huber, who gets good hang time on his punts, rookie, with Will Blackman standing at his own 10-yard line for Green Bay. High punt. Blackman will back off. This one will take a bounce. Perfectly done by Huber. Inside the 5. And welcome back to Green Bay, everybody. Also want to welcome those of you watching on our CBS affiliate, K-Pax in Missoula, Montana. From all over the country, they're checking out the Packers and the Bengals today from Green Bay. Tied at 21. First play from scrimmage in the second half for the Packers as Ryan Grant gets the call. Robert gathers there to greet him. It's a 2-yard gain. And Mike McCarthy, head coach, and calls the plays. You know, Richie's got a sign on his office wall: less volume, more creativity. What does it mean?
Well, you know, he's evolved as a play caller. You look at his play sheet there, and you know, years ago there'd be 150 passes, 75 runs, and he really believes less volume and more creativity every phase of the game, not just offensively in terms of calling plays, but defensively and special teams. You have to commit to your plan, and you have to stick by your calls. He's a guy that's done that. I think he's scaled back some of these packages, particularly for some of these young players on offense. I think they're much more efficient offensively.
Well, right now there's an injury. Chad Clifton, the veteran, now in his 10th year. He's been one of the most durable players on this offensive line. Back here at Lambeau, the card has come out for Chad Clifton, the veteran left tackle, and now everything shifts on the offensive line. Spitz moves to left guard, College to left tackle. Scott Wells is in at center for Green Bay. On a 2nd and 8, Rodgers under heavy heat. He was looking for Greg Jennings, who has yet to register his first catch of the day. And it brings up 3rd and long.
Well, you know, 2nd long, Mike Zimmer's not going to sit back. They bring the blitz. They try and have the built-in hot. Good job by Leon Hall recognizing that quick slant that the Packers like to run and driving on the throw. There's a guy that's not going to be patient. He's not going to sit back. Mike Zimmer will heat you up if he has the opportunity.
3rd and 8 now for the Packers. Early stages, 3rd quarter, tied at 21. Rodgers out of the gun and gets rid of it in a hurry to Jordy Nelson. First down for Green Bay out across the 15-yard line. It covers 11 yards.
And once again, they're doing a good job finding the weakness in this coverage. They're attacking these safeties. They bring in Jordy Nelson. They wind up completing a little slant throw against Roy Williams.
Jordy Nelson now in his 2nd year with Green Bay out of Kansas State, a high school quarterback and defensive back, also a high school track star. New set of downs for the Packers to work with.
Rest your week.
Rodgers straight back. Rodgers. Oh, Chancey. Donald Driver able to bring it in. Oh, there was a moment where you thought Jonathan Joseph could have picked that one off. JB, simply put, he is a monster right now. Adrian Peterson for the Vikings. Play fake. Rodgers in trouble. And Rodgers slammed down by Odom. He had 2 last week. He's got 2 this week. Antoine Odom has been a man possessed.
Well, just keep an eye on Antoine Odom. You know they've made changes now along this offensive line. They have a new left tackle in there, Darren College, and he is going right after him. You can see right there, just beats College to the quarterback. Antoine Odom, 2 sacks last week, 2 more again today.
College himself not 100% because of a foot injury. Now in there at left tackle because of the injury to Chad Clifton. Rodgers. Short throw to James Jones, trying to create after the catch. And able to take it to the 45-yard line. It's a loss of 8 on the play. Joseph over there defensively for Cincinnati. A gain of 8 for Green Bay to the 45.
Boy, Jonathan Joseph came so close, and as you mentioned, that last interception. There's just a fine line between trying to make a play on the ball, trying to get the interception, and trying to knock it out. But that was a perfect throw by Aaron Rodgers that got it done.
We're told it's an ankle injury for Chad Clifton. They are taking x-rays as we speak. As soon as we have information, we'll pass it along. 3rd and 7 for the Packers. Shotgun formation. Extra protection there for Rodgers. Rodgers has room into Cincinnati territory. 1st down, Packers to the 40.
And this is what drives a defensive coordinator absolutely crazy. You have good coverage, you have good rush lanes. All of a sudden, an athletic player like Aaron Rodgers is able to step up, avoid the rush, and make a 1st down with his legs.
15-yard pickup for Rodgers, and a 1st down for Green Bay. Rodgers to throw. Little floater got knocked loose. Ryan Grant. Bengals claim they've got it. The shot, Malaluga, and the Bengals take over. Green Bay coughs it up.
Boy, the bend but don't break defense of the Bengals. I mean, they hang in there, they keep battling, and then at just the last possible minute, they come up with a big play. And again, Ray Malaluga. They love this young player from USC. He seems like he's always around the ball, and he does a great job stripping.
A dynamic collegiate player at USC, and he delivered the shot on Ryan Grant. Bengals take over. 1st and 10 at the Cincinnati 38. This game tied at 21. We approach 8 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. Palmer under duress and able to unload for a 3-yard gain. Able to make the connection to Daniel Coates. Line of scrimmage will now be just shy of the 41-yard line. Well, they have learned a lot, and it's showing now at the next level in the NFL. Handoff. Cedric Benson. And Benson hurdles his way out across the 45-yard line, and the ball popped free. But he was ruled down. Benson was down. 7-yard pickup for Cedric Benson, and close to a 1st down. Benson now with 99 yards on the ground. This is a 3rd and 1. Play clock winding down. Palmer on a give. And Benson's got a 1st down and a little extra something to the 45 of Green Bay. Good block by Dennis Rowland, who checked in as a 6th offensive lineman with a jumbo package to help spring Benson loose.
In Green Bay right now, defensively, they're reeling. And I think this is a defense that's built on stopping the run and getting after you in the passing game. And right now, they can't get off the field. They can't stop the run. And when you give the Bengals an opportunity to run the ball, then the big plays come in the play-action game with Carson Palmer and Ocho Cinco.
So Cincinnati is moving down the field methodically here after the turnover. This game is tied at 21. We come up on 6 minutes to go in the 3rd. Crowding the line. Handoff again. Boy, Aaron Rouse played that one well. 3-yard gain for Benson, but Rouse had an inkling of what was happening from the start.
And you know you're running the ball with success when you don't care if it's a 7 or 8 man front. You don't care if they're bringing safeties and corners off the edge. You continue to run the ball. That's a positive right now for the Bengals.
Well, on the other side, Green Bay running the ball, although Grant fumbled the football off the feed from Aaron Rodgers, coughed it up. Now Bernard Scott is checked in. Benson gets a breather. Scott, rookie out of Abilene Christian, Division II product, and he'll get the call. Scott lowers his head, and there's nothing there. A gain of 1. Rouse in on that stop for Green Bay.
Or just give Cedric Benson a blow. He's already over 100 yards, 20 carries, 110 yards here, and we're only halfway through the third quarter.
And now Brian Leonard will come on in this third down situation. A 3rd and 6 for Cincinnati. Bengals have 225 yards of offense. Compare that to 171 for Green Bay. Dime package for the Packers. Will Blackman is in. From the gun, fans come to their feet here at Lambeau. Palmer, timing pattern, steps and fires. Andre Caldwell, second effort, and he's got a first down out across the 35-yard line. 8-yard pickup for the Bengals, and this drive will continue for Cincinnati.
It was a good job right here. You see the pressure coming, and Carson Palmer delivers the ball quickly. That's how you beat pressure. You know where your quick answer throws. You get guys like Andre Caldwell the ball in space, and you let them go to work.
Line of scrimmage is now the 33. Benson is back on the field for the Bengals. Motion man is Coles. We come up on 4 minutes to play in this third quarter. Give is to Benson, stops. And he is brought down, bottled up by Nick Barnett. Only 9 games last season because of a knee injury. One of the emotional leaders of this Green Bay defense. Loss of 2.
Boy, he's been quiet today, and that's the guy you need in there to stop the run. Nick Barnett is the guy, as you said, Ian, missed a lot of preseason with that knee injury. He did play in the last preseason game. He got about 40 snaps last week.
On this drive, 5 rushes, 2 passes. Benson has been terrific all day. Play fake. Palmer looking. Deep ball. And nobody home. Miscommunication. Ocho Cinco zigged when he should have zagged, or Palmer and Ocho Cinco just weren't on the same page.
Yeah, you're going to see Chad right down here. He's going to actually work to the post, and what happens is the ball comes out here to the boundary. So obviously Carson Palmer thought he was running a go route. Chad decided to go to the post. Certainly some confusion there, doesn't get it done.
Right now, the Bengals are looking at a 53-yard field goal attempt. Ocho Cinco with 2 catches, covering 55 yards. This crowd is fired up. On a 3rd and 12. Palmer throwing under pressure and complete. Ocho Cinco brought down inside the 15. Campman supplied the pressure on Palmer. Ocho Cinco's teammates will get him out of there after the 23-yard hookup.
Well, they're excited about Chad Ocho Cinco. He's committed again. He's excited. He's having fun. And what did Carson tell us last night? He's much better after the catch. He's back.
He said he's here now. Last year, he was somewhere else mentally. That's what Palmer told us. He's rediscovered his love for the game. And movement up front. Pickett and Williams in a matchup.
Well, the big thing with a player like Chad Ocho Cinco, you just have to keep him focused. He's such an explosive player. He's a game changer, but you have to keep his mind in it. He has a tendency to want to drift mentally sometimes. He loses his focus, and that's where the errors and the mistakes begin to creep into his play. But when he is on, he is still one of the game's best.
We've had no flags for about 5 minutes, which is by far the longest stretch we've had here today without any penalty markers.
I feel like I'm doing a Raiders game.
No, that's next week.
Neutral zone infraction defense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
And neither coach is going to be happy with the penalties. You don't give yourself a chance to win when you can't get lined up.
Do you think Ocho Cinco feels a bond with Ed Hockley, who also wears number 85? You got 85, Ocho Cinco. Ed Hockley also wears 85.
I don't know if Ed Hockley transitions in and out of cuts as well as Chad.
You know what?
Cinco.
That's Ed Ocho Cinco.
There's another problem. And keep in mind, you have a new center for Carson Palmer this year.
The whole offensive line.
How about
5-yard
that?
penalty.
A whole offensive line.
Second down. Correction, still first down.
Kyle Cook, second-year center. Some inexperience up front along that offensive line.
Cook out of Michigan State. He played 5 games in 2008, had a toe injury. Palmer had some really nice things to say about Cook, though, how smart he is, how quickly he's picked things up. He's a good communicator, former practice squad member. Under 2 minutes to go now in the third. Cincinnati looking for the lead. Handoff to Cedric Benson. And Benson forced to the perimeter. Woodson and Jolly. Charles Woodson has been everywhere here today for Green Bay.
And this is how you defend the back like Cedric Benson. You have to make him go this way. That's what they talk about. Be good in your run fits. Force him to the boundary. You see right there, good angles, and you see Charles Woodson's able to come up and make the play, a good physical corner. But that's how you slow down Cedric Benson. You make him go east and west rather than north and south.
Loss of 1 on the play, 11th play of the drive. On a 2nd and 11 now for the Bengals. Palmer to throw. Protection holds up. Palmer, end zone, incomplete. Daniel Coates was wide open.
Well, you talk about not a lot of production from the tight end in this offense. Keep in mind they lost both Reggie Kelly and Ben Utek to injury. Coates had just 1 catch last week. You gotta find a way to get this done. Good throw. Just goes right through his hands in the corner of the end zone. You gotta find a way to haul this one in.
Third and 11. Shotgun, Palmer throwing, hauled in. Ocho Cinco, touchdown. Cincinnati with the score.
Boy, a false start by the defense. Just again, more penalties in that part of the field. You're just not giving yourself a chance to win. Good job by Carson Palmer with his use of the cadence.
The big picture here for Cincinnati. This offense has been tremendous. Long drive for the Bengals. It took 7 minutes and 7 seconds. Ocho Cinco, 13-yard touchdown reception. Remember, Ryan Grant fumbled the football, and Cincinnati took over and made it stick. Graham on the kickoff. Blackman returning from the 2. Blackman. Ocho Cinco touchdown has given Cincinnati a 28-21 lead, 1:02 left to go in the third quarter. Packers take over from the 27. Set it up for Ryan Grant on the screen. And able to rumble his way out towards the sideline. Jason Spitz with a good block along that left side. 13-yard pickup for the Packers and a first down.
Boy, that's a good-looking screen, and I think that the thing that allows this Packer team to be such a good screen team is they have good athletes, offensive linemen that can get out in front of these screens and really run and cut.
Playing without Chad Clifton. He went down with an ankle injury earlier in this third quarter. So this offensive line has shifted with everybody moving down a spot along the left side. Spence in college and Wells now in at center. Rodgers throwing, and a quick toss to Jermichael Finley. Finley has a chance to be a real impact player. He's still developing, only 22 years old in his second year from Texas.
Well, they have plenty of firepower offensively. You know, they had a 4,000-yard passer last year. They have a 1,200-yard rusher in Ryan Grant. They have 2,000-yard receivers. And oh, by the way, Jermichael Finley was probably their most explosive player in the preseason.
We welcome you back to Green Bay, Wisconsin, where the Packers and Bengals start play in the fourth quarter. Cincinnati with a 28-21 lead. Ian Eagle, Rich Gannon, the rest of our CBS crew with you from Lambeau. 2nd and 1 for the Packers. First play of this fourth quarter, a 3-receiver set. Aaron Rodgers, 14 of 22, 161 yards and a touchdown. Rodgers Fires on a crossing route to Finley. And a first down for Green Bay into Cincinnati territory. That covers 7 yards. Keith Rivers with the tackle. Shotgun formation. And an empty backfield. Here's Rodgers to throw it. Over the middle. And trying to extend out. That is Donald Lee, the tight end. So Lee and Finley both involved. Greg Jennings has not been involved. It's a 3-yard gain out across the middle. Jennings has been shut out so far for the Packers.
When you look at a guy like Aaron Rodgers, he's extremely sound fundamentally. I mean, he's grown up in this system. He's got a certain comfort level and familiarity with the concepts and progressions as a result. And I think he's playing much faster and going through his reach much more efficiently.
2nd and 7 now for the Packers. Line of scrimmage is the 40-yard line of Cincinnati. To the ground game. And Ryan Grant able to move forward across the 40 to the 36-yard line. It's a 4-yard pickup. Chris Crocker over there to make the tackle for Cincinnati.
And if you're calling plays for the Packers like Mike McCarthy, you have to be protection conscious. Aaron Rodgers has gotten knocked around. They've gotten pressure on him. They've sacked him. They've had a number of changes. They're without maybe their best offensive lineman, left tackle Chad Clifton. They bring in Scott Wells. They reshuffle the offensive line. Alan Barber struggled at right tackle last week. You have to be protection conscious.
And now a 3rd and 3 here for Green Bay. Looking to convert. Early stages, 4th quarter here at Lambeau. Rodgers guns it. Finley trying to turn the corner. He's extending the arm. Flag came down. Dhani Jones making the stop along with Joseph.
It's usually holding when you see that one in the secondary.
Before the pass was thrown, holding defense number 42. That's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot and an automatic first down.
3rd penalty against Chris Crocker here today, and the penalties piling up for Cincinnati. It's a first down for Green Bay.
Well, he's struggling right now in terms of the coverages, and you know he's a very active player. He's a very physical player in the run support, but he's not the best cover guy, and the Packers are taking advantage of that right now.
Signed a 4-year, $10 million deal during the offseason. Mike Zimmer, defensive coordinator, has to be happy with the way his unit has performed here today, but the penalties, 12 of them for 95 yards against the Bengals overall.
Well, last week it was the offense. This week it's the defense.
So the drive continues for the Packers. 1st and 10 at the 31 of Cincinnati. Rodgers, short drop, now forced out of the pocket. And Rodgers is sacked. It's that man again. Antoine Odom, his 3rd sack of the day. Boy, what an afternoon he's having at Lambeau. Tennessee's got the lead there. Bengals have the lead here. Rodgers, strong throw, and it's broken up. Chris Crocker getting in there defensively.
There's a good play by Chris Crocker. You just got to be patient sometimes in that back end. Good alert play by Chris Crocker.
And Donald Driver, the intended receiver for Green Bay.
Well, you get a look at Mike Zimmer there, and you know I'm very fond of him. I think he had an immediate impact last year with this defense. They played hard. They were better in their run defense, better in the red zone defense. And the thing where they really improved, Diane, is they've limited the explosive plays. With the gains of 20 or more, they've been a much more savvy defense in that regard.
If they don't gain any yards, they're looking at about a 55-yard field goal attempt for Crosby. Rodgers offline on his throw to Donald Driver. And things just a little bit out of sync for this Green Bay offense. And let's see what Mike McCarthy decides to do. Attempt a long field goal or send out Jeremy Kapanos to punt, and it's going to be Kapanos.
Well, they did a nice job. They blocked him up. They gave Aaron Rodgers a chance. They had one-on-one. He just couldn't hook up with Donald Driver.
So Jeremy Kapanos out of Springfield, Virginia. He was actually coached in high school by former Packers punter Bill Kenner. Now in his first year officially in the NFL, although he punted for Green Bay last year from Penn State. Titletown, USA. The Packers have been based in Green Bay since 1919. This is one of the more unique experiences on an NFL Sunday. Just a great place to enjoy football. Right now, the Packers fans not enjoying themselves. Cincinnati 28, Green Bay 21. Handoff to Cedric Benson. And it's a gain of 1 as Ryan Pickett was over there along that defensive line to make the play. He had 3 guys over there, and that was enough for him.
And around.
And it's Lavernius Coles. And not much room to work with. Al Harris stuck with it, and he held his water. 2-yard gain for Coles, angled out of bounds.
A very alert play by Al Harris, the veteran corner. You see him, good vision in the backfield at staying home and keeping that run back up inside, not allowing a big play.
Now this is a big play for the Green Bay defense. Cincinnati facing a 3rd and 7. Bengals deep in their own territory. Palmer has made a couple of mistakes today with interceptions, both to Woodson. One went back for a touchdown.
Well, you got to anticipate pressure right here. You know it's coming.
Shotgun.
Well, they can't get that cadence worked out.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
This is where the crowd noise becomes an issue when you're backed up in your own end. Communication is so vital for an offense. Communication in the huddle, communication at the line of scrimmage, communication as it relates to the assignments and the protection.
So the line of scrimmage is now the 7-yard line for Cincinnati. We'll see if they go conservative here, deep in their own territory, if they let it rip on 3rd and 12. Palmer pats the ball, throws underneath. Brian Leonard after the catch. Spin move, nearly got to the 1st down marker.
Well, they're going to be short, but boy, they've really hurt the Packers today with the screen game, particularly weak side, away from the formation. And Carson Palmer does such a good job as a quarterback. His eyes are to the right, his eyes are downfield, and he really holds that defense.
Schiller and Harris there to bring him down. It's a 10-yard gain, but they come up shy by about 2 yards. So Kevin Huber is on, with Will Blackman standing at his own 29-yard line to return it for Green Bay. High punt. Blackman will let it take a bounce. It takes a Cincinnati roll and will settle in right around the 25-yard line. Huber has done his job today, the rookie from Cincinnati. And a flag on the play.
Go figure.
56-yard punt. Flag was thrown back at the 25-yard line of the Bengals.
During the punt, holding, receiving team number 30. It's a 10-yard penalty enforced from the end of the punt. Green Bay keeps the ball, 1st down.
John Kuhn. We are in the 4th quarter here in Green Bay. The Cincinnati Bengals with a 28-21 lead over the Green Bay Packers. The Bengals, a heartbreaking 12-7 loss to Denver last week on a fluke play. Trying to rebound from that defeat. Packers coming off a win over the Bears. Quick hitter to Jermichael Finley. And Finley's got a 1st down out across the 30-yard line. It's a 17-yard pickup.
Just look, watch how quick this comes out. They see that Jermichael Finley's uncovered. Just a good alert play by Aaron Rodgers, kicking it out wide to Jermichael Finley, his tight end.
Rodgers is 17 of 27, 189 yards. Finley with 3 catches today. Ryan Grant only 13 carries, Rich, so far for the Packers.
I'm not going to be happy with that. Not enough production for the Packers running the ball.
Under 9 minutes to play. Rodgers throwing, and a slip. Greg Jennings lost his footing out near the sideline, and it's incomplete.
It's really been a big problem today, their inability to run the football for the Packers. You mentioned Grant, just 13 carries for 44 yards, and you look at their distribution in terms of run and pass, 15 runs, 32 passes. That's not what Mike McCarthy wants to be. Last week it was a problem as well. They weren't able to run the ball, just 76 yards against Chicago, and it was a point of emphasis all off season.
Initially looked like Rodgers would work out of the gun. Instead, he comes under center Scott Wells. Play clock is down to 2. Rodgers, heavy pressure. Oh, he just got annihilated in the pocket. Antoine Odom, they can't stop the man. 4 sacks.
And you can't hold the ball right now. You have a problem at left tackle. It's an issue. You're just going to see right here, he's just going to beat College right around the corner. You're without your left tackle. You can't hold the ball. 4 sacks. This guy is on his way to the Pro Bowl. I have no idea what they're feeding him for the pregame meal. He had 2 sacks last week. He's already got 4 right now. They better figure out a way to block Odom.
They had 17 as a team all of last season. Odom's got 6 on his own through 2 weeks. Rodgers, shotgun. Steps, throws, deep route, and broken up. Driver was the target. Williams over there to help make the play, and Rodgers took another shot. Standing tall in the pocket.
Well, they're not allowing Aaron Rodgers to get comfortable in the pocket. He's having to move, he's having to slide, he's having to step up. They're having to keep backs in to chip and protect, and that is an hellacious hit by Robert Gathers. And these hits, these hurries, these sacks, they begin to take their toll.
Capanos the punt. Cosby lets it bounce right to him off the one hopper. We want to thank the MetLife Blimp for providing aerial coverage of all the drama below. Look for the MetLife Blimp Snoopy 1 and 2 when they pass through a town near you. What's the mindset of Carson Palmer as he comes to the line of scrimmage?
You got a 7-point lead. You got to be smart in this situation. You got to see throws, no sacks, no turnovers, and no negative plays.
Palmer to throw, looking for the deep ball down the sideline, and it's broken up. Chris Henry against Al Harris. Cincinnati was looking for the knockout punch.
Boy, I like that. I like taking a shot on first down. Good job holding the safety. Now you got to give him a chance to make a play on the boundary. Just good coverage by Al Harris.
Little bit of pushing and shoving as they jostled Henry and Harris. Henry heads to the bench area, and it's 2nd and 10. Clock stops with 7:52 remaining, and the Bengals in front, 28-21. From the 34-yard line, 6 offensive linemen here for Cincinnati. Cedric Benson, stutter step move out across the 40-yard line. He gets ahead of steam as Dennis Rowland provided a block. It's an 8-yard gain for Benson, who has been very impressive here at Lambeau.
Well, I think it's a combination of things. I think it's a combination of this offensive line for Cincinnati has done a wonderful job, and Cedric Benson has run the ball with power, and that's been the difference so far in this football game.
Huge play here on a 3rd and 2. If they can convert, they can use more clock and put more pressure on Green Bay. Cincinnati has all 3 timeouts to work with, and it looks like Marvin Lewis will call one here. Cincinnati still has 2 timeouts remaining. This is a 3rd and 2 for the Bengals at the 42-yard line. Bengals have 6 offensive linemen out there. Dennis Rowland has joined the party in the trenches. Handoff. Cedric Benson slowed down, stays on his feet, and Benson's got the first down. Out of bounds. Oh, what a pivotal run by Benson to move the chains for the Bengals.
Well, they had him right in the backfield. Charles Woodson was right there to make the hit. And this is just a great effort by Cedric Benson. They don't fool anybody. You see a miss there, another miss there, another miss, 3 misses. Just great running, great effort by Cedric Benson.
And the clock is rolling now, under 7 minutes to go in this 4th quarter. And this drive remains alive for Cincinnati. Now at the Green Bay 44.
They'll just keep running the football.
On a handoff for Bernard Scott, and Scott finds open running room. Emerging out across the 40 for a 7-yard gain. Aaron Rouse over there to make the play. Benson today is averaging better than 5 yards per carry. 130 yards on 25 carries for Cedric Benson.
And they go back to what Carson Palmer told us last night, the importance. We have to be a run-based offense. Production is a must for us today. They've come out here and done just that.
And it makes all their play-action stuff so much more effective.
And it helps that young offensive line. It's going to help them in terms of the pass protection as well if they can run the ball with some success.
Benson back in there.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by The Insight, a new hybrid from Honda. For everyone. And by AT&T. Your world delivered.
Packers have 2 timeouts remaining. Cincinnati leads this one 28-21 with 6 minutes to go in the fourth. On a 2nd and 4, stop and go by Cedric Benson, and then gang tackled by the Packers defensively as he tried to accelerate. Gain of 2.5, 3 yards depending on the spot. Last week, Rich, this defensive line for Green Bay was a big part of the story in the win over Chicago. What's been the story here today for them?
Well, they struggled. This front seven has really gotten their noses bloodied by an offense of line in Cincinnati, as well as Jeremy Johnson, the fullback for the Bengals. He's made a difference today, all 275 pounds up. He's opened up some big holes, but Green Bay has not been able to find a way to bring down Cedric Benson.
Fans trying to play a role on a 3rd and 2. It's Benson cutting to the outside, stays on his feet, and Benson bottled up. Aaron Rouse getting him down low. And right now the Bengals are in a bit of no man's land here. They're facing a 4th and 1 or a 54-yard field goal attempt with the clock rolling down, under 5 minutes left.
I think you go for it. I think you go for it.
Line of scrimmage is the 35.
I really do. You have a good field goal kicker, but man, I'd love to see this team go for it.
Shane Graham waiting for instructions. Bob Redkowski, offensive coordinator under Marvin Lewis. And boy, they are sending out the punter, Kevin Huber.
Boy, the way Cedric Benson is running the ball right now, the Packers' inability to stop the run. Boy, I'm surprised they're not taking a shot in this situation.
Keep an eye on the fake potentially with Chris Crocker there as an up man standing at the 40-yard line. Brad St. Louis to snap it. They're trying to catch Green Bay here.
Yep, delay a game. Which won't hurt them here, obviously.
Delay of game offense. The penalty is declined. Still 4th down.
Yeah, it actually gives Huber a little bit more real estate to work with. Back it up 5 yards.
Well, they're going to decline
the
penalty.
Will.
Yep, and they'll make them punt from that very same spot. I've been really impressed with Kevin Huber today, and the punter. He's done a nice job. He's done a very good job with his directional kicks. His hang time has been good. He's been a real difference maker today for the Bengals.
Well, this is a crucial moment here for Cincinnati on special teams. Huber is trying to place this ball and pin the Packers back deep. Fair catch, and it's called for at the 14-yard line on a 4th and 1 from the 35. Elected to punt it as the Packers take over. On 1st down, Ryan Grant up the middle, and he is spun down by Malaluga. Gain of a yard, yard and a half. Odom over there as well defensively, and the Cincinnati Bengals defensively, you've got to be impressed with what they've been able to do today. 21 points. Keep in mind, it was a Woodson pick 6.
Yeah, they've constantly harassed Aaron Rodgers. They've not allowed him to get comfortable. You see Mike Zimmer there. He's done a good job with his play selection, trying to keep this Green Bay offense off balance.
Really no sense of urgency, though, here for Green Bay offensively. Down to 3:22 and counting left in this 4th quarter. On the rollout, Rodgers throwing. Deep ball. A lot of Bengals back there. And knocked away. Greg Jennings wanted a call with 3 Bengals defensive backs in the area.
Well, this is one that Aaron Rodgers is going to want to have back come Monday when he looks at the film. Listen, you can't be greedy. Just keep an eye right here at the bottom of your screen. That's Jordy Nelson. He's going to roll out to his right, but look right here. He is going to be wide open on the boundary. Go ahead and throw it. Go ahead and give it to him. Don't work back into here into double coverage. You can't make these decisions. These are the decisions that jump up and bite you. Take the short thing on the boundary so you're not stuck with a 3rd and 8.
And a big 3rd down here. 3:12 left. Packers down by 7. Shotgun formation. Rush coming. And another one. 5 sacks. Antoine Odom is not human.
There's your AFC Defensive Player of the Week right there. And if he keeps this up, You'll see him in Hawaii in February. He has been dominant. You see him at the bottom of your screen. He is just walking offensive linemen back into the quarterback. Aaron Rodgers doesn't know whether to step up or to work to his right or left. He's been constantly harassed by Antoine Odom.
Jeremy Kapanos, the punt. Quan Cosby from the 40. And Cosby taking it into Green Bay territory. Had a 60-yard return earlier. And boy, how the pendulum has swung. Jeremy Kapanos had to help make the play along the sideline. A 31-yard return for the rookie. What a day for Antoine Odom and this Cincinnati defense, and on special teams, Cosby has done his job.
Boy, Cosby's been impressive. I mean, this guy is just a young player, but he plays like a veteran. Just good vision, smart with the football. He gets everything he can and then gets out of bounds. But I'll tell you the difference in this game, Ian, offensively, the Packers' pass protection an issue once again. Their inability to run the ball. They've kind of shot themselves in the foot with penalties and drop balls. They have been sloppy on both sides of the ball.
2:38 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Cincinnati takes over with a 1st and 10 at the Green Bay 29. And Benson coughs it up. Able to cover it up after losing it initially. So no harm done on the play. Green Bay uses a timeout. Packers have 1 remaining, and they have the 2-minute warning. You know, we sat down with a bunch of Cincinnati Bengals players yesterday, and Rich, one thing that stood out, we talked to Roy Williams about the loss last week. He comes from a winning program, the Dallas Cowboys, and Roy looked you and I in the eye and said, we're not going to be anyone's doormat. We're not going to be a laughingstock in the AFC. And he said it with a lot of confidence. Now, obviously, you don't know how this team is going to perform, but it did ring true in what he said, and the belief that this team didn't see themselves the way that other people around the NFL may have been looking at them following the Week 1 loss.
Wow, this is not the same old Bengals. You look at a guy like Roy Williams. I think you bring in quality players like this in terms of free agency. They've added players in the draft that have really helped this football team. You see Marvin Lewis there. He stayed the course. It hasn't always been easy, but this is a good football team. I think the key this year, a healthy Carson Palmer.
And the key today, can they finish it off? Something they couldn't do a week ago. Stutter step, Cedric Benson continues to fight. You asked Benson about where he's improved or where he can look to improve. He said, you know, in that 3rd level, not necessarily the 2nd level, the linebackers, when he gets to the secondary, turning it up a notch and turn those into explosive scoring plays.
Well, the problem right now the Packers have is they face the defensive player of the week right there in Antoine Odom. And on the other side of the ball, the offensive player of the week in Cedric Benson. That's been the problem. These two guys have single-handedly caused some major problems for the coordinators for the Packers.
He has tied a team record. Ed Edwards had 5 sacks back in December of 1980 against Cleveland. 3rd and 5. And Benson, that spin move, he could not break free of Charles Woodson. Boy, it looked like Benson was going to spring himself for a 1st down as Aaron Campman could not bring him down.
Well, you know, we just showed that highlight reel of Antoine Odom. One of the keys we talked about earlier in the game, protection.
It is the first official field goal attempt this season for Shane Graham. They botched a field goal attempt last week in the loss to Denver. Trying to make this a 2-score disparity with 2 minutes to play. 41-yard attempt. Huber will hold it. Shane Graham from 41 yards away. And Graham, he's got it. Cincinnati goes in front 31-21 with 1:56 to play here at Lambeau. What a difference a week makes. The Cincinnati Bengals last week, a 12-7 loss to Denver, and now they are 1:56 away from walking out of Green Bay with a victory. They've got Pittsburgh coming up, then at Cleveland, at Baltimore, Houston, and Chicago at home. They hit their bye week on November the 1st. For the Packers, at St. Louis, at Minnesota, so they have to go back-to-back on the road after hosting 2 games to open up the season. His team last year 6-10. I know, Rich, a team that you're very high on, one of the favorites in the NFC in your eyes, if everything breaks correctly for Mike McCarthy and company. But now this Chad Clifton injury, that'll be a major concern on this offensive line.
Just not a clean day performance-wise. We talked about pass protection being critical for the Packers. Didn't get it done. Penalties, 10 penalties, a number of drop balls, some assignment issues. They have a lot to get cleaned up here in the next week.
Nick Collins going down with a shoulder injury. This is a 10-point lead for Cincinnati. Will Blackman on the return. Will the Packers ever need a spark here? And Blackman is brought down just across the 20-yard line by Brian Leonard on special teams. It's a 13-yard return.
When you talk about momentum and how it's important, this is a team that finished last year by winning 3 in a row, the Bengals. And I think they carried that momentum into the preseason. They had a good preseason, and now they're looking sharp here in week 2.
On a throw to Donald Lee. And Lee out across the 30-yard line. It's an 11-yard gain and a first down. And have to move quickly here, the Packers. No timeouts with a minute 37 left.
Cincinnati just got to keep everything in front of you. The safety's got to be smart. Can't be aggressive. Just keep the throws in front of you.
And a 4-receiver set. Rodgers throws it over the middle and knocked loose. Boy.
And right there, that is why they went out and got Roy Williams.
He just laid it out on Donald Lee.
He is the enforcer, and he is going to help make this unit a much more physical group. I mean, Roy Williams, if you give him a shot down the middle, he is going to take it. You see Aaron Rodgers here just being a little bit aggressive with the throw. There's Roy Williams for the knockout shot.
Five-time Pro Bowler. And I would say Roy Williams leads the NFL in appearances on the television show Hard Knocks. 3 times in his career he's been a part of that. Twice with the Dallas Cowboys and this year with Cincinnati.
They're following him all around. But I just really think this guy is going to help make this a better group.
So a minute 24 left.
There's Antoine Odom. Got to find him.
They finally did. Rodgers.
Here he comes.
And out of bounds. Able to angle his way out near midfield to the 48-yard line.
Boy, Antoine Odom might need an IV after this game, huh? Well, he's been all over the field.
Antoine Odom, former Tennessee Titan, a pass rushing specialist and living up to that title here today.
You know, he's gained some weight this offseason. I think he's put on about 20 pounds. I think he's stronger. I think he's more physical. I think he's become a better pass rusher. Obviously, it's showing up today.
Listed now at 280 pounds in his 6th year from Alabama. Down to a minute 17 left. Now the Packers down by 10. Rodgers flushed out, and Rodgers will run again. Aaron Rodgers padding his rushing stats. Just went for 16 on the previous play. Now that's 11 yards for Rodgers.
When you go back and look at my notes from last week, negative plays were a huge problem for the Packers offense a week ago. They had penalties, they had sacks, they had some negative runs that contributed to some big numbers on 3rd down. We saw much more of that again today against the Bengals.
You know, officially, this is the youngest roster in the NFL. They built through the draft with GM Ted Thompson. 1:07 left to go now in the 4th. Rodgers throwing, and Donald Driver. And bottled up just shy of the 25-yard line. That's 14 yards through the air. But the clock is moving down to 53 seconds and ticking. Rodgers pumping and throws to the sideline. Nobody home.
Some confusion there, trying to trick him. Aaron was acting like he was going to clock it. He was thinking about throwing that ball to Greg Jennings up top.
Well, here's a strategy that Mike McCarthy is going to throw out there. You need the field goal at some point. You need a field goal and a touchdown. So why not attempt the field goal with 49 seconds?
Take the points, try the onside kick, and still give yourself a chance to win the game.
I agree with him here. I think that few coaches think this way. They think touchdown and touchdown only. 45-yard attempt. Now you got to make the field goal. That's part of it. And Mason Crosby does. Remember last year, they lost their first 8 games of the season. They finished the year 4-11-1, and you mentioned finished the year strong, gave them some sense of optimism heading into 2009. That new rule in the NFL where you can't be lined up all on one side, have to balance it out on the onside kick. And Cincinnati will use a timeout.
Good timeout. They get a chance to preview the formation by the Packers in terms of the kicking game and get a chance to talk about it on sidelines. A good job by their special teams coach, Darren Simmons. You see him right there in the middle of the pile. You get your best players out there, your hands team, guys that receivers and defensive backs, guys that have good hands, that can function in space and hopefully make a play on a ball. Talk about the new rule, Ian. The kickoff team must have at least 3 players outside each inbounds line, one of whom must be outside the yard line number, and at least four players on each side of the kicker. In the past, you'd have 7 or 8 guys lined up over here, and they'd run down, and what happened was you'd have a lot of collisions. And the competition committee is trying the hardest to avoid injuries, and so that's the reason for the change.
So here we go. Onside kick from Mason Crosby and the Packers. Puts it on the ground.
That's a good one, too.
Takes a roll.
Oh, get it!
Rams! Packers! Tramon Williams! Can lightning strike twice to the Bengals?
And now if you're Marvin Lewis, you have to find a way to rally the troops. Listen, this ball just hangs out there. Nobody goes for it. It falls right into the lap of Tramon Williams. Good kick by Mason Crosby.
The sequence of events. 1 week ago against Denver, everybody knows what happened.
Boy, no timeouts. If you're Aaron Rodgers, you have to be smart. Incompletions in this situation won't hurt you. You have to be able to kill the clock. Take your shots. Receivers have to find a way to get out of bounds.
Packers down by 7. 1st and 10 from the 43. Rodgers throwing incomplete. Diving attempt by Jonathan Joseph. James Jones, the intended receiver. He kept going down that sideline.
And I'm looking at my tip sheet. I'm facing Mike Zimmer, the defensive coordinator for the Bengals. I'm looking at my tip sheet. It says when push comes to shove, he's going to blitz you. At crunch time, in 2-minute situations after a clock stoppage, and in the red zone to win the game. So you have to be smart. You have to understand the situations, and he'll come after you.
Packers still alive here. 31-24 Bengals, 41 seconds left. Rodgers out of the gun. Steps, throws, deep ball, too high. Jermichael Finley out in space on the vertical route, and it's 3rd and 10.
Well, you just have to keep telling yourself you can't get it all in one play. You have to be patient. You have to be willing to work underneath. This defense in Cincinnati, they're going to play deep. It'll allow you to complete the ball underneath. You have to try and work some of these deep out routes as opposed to working down the middle of the field into their coverage.
Packers have no timeouts remaining. Bengals have to be wondering, how did we get to this point again? 36 seconds left to play. Rodgers out of the pocket. Rodgers on the move, throwing on the run, and complete. Donald Driver to the 35-yard line of Cincinnati. Clock is moving, 22 seconds left. He wants to spike it.
Get everybody lined up. Now you got a couple shots.
16 seconds left on the clock.
Boy, if he can be in rhythm now, he's going to have at least 2 shots for the end zone. Even if you get half of it here, you'll still give yourself another shot, maybe 2 for the end zone.
16 seconds remain.
Well, you have to find a way to work the boundary. A ball completed in the middle of the field will really hurt you.
Bengals holding on for dear life here. Rodgers throws.
You're going to have 1 shot.
Driver lost the ball as he came down.
Oh, they're going to get 1 more snap.
2 seconds. 1 second.
Oh, they're going to have a false start. The game's over.
Rodgers looking.
Jermichael Finley, the tight end, was not set. That's going to cost him the game.
As bizarre an ending as we had last week, Cincinnati and Denver. This one is going to end with a thud for Green Bay and a penalty.
I think this game is over. Offensive penalty.
The game was over before the ball was snapped. There was also a false start on the last play. If the ball had been snapped, there was a false start on the last play, which would require a 10-second runoff. So in either case, the game is over.
The Cincinnati Bengals have bounced back